Welcome to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast, where we are building a community of people who are in the midst of midlife, sharing our stories and learning from each other along the way. Each week, I'll have a guest join me to discuss a topic that impacts our lives and touches on some aspect of midlife. We'll discuss relationships, transitions, health and well-being, parenting, careers, and more. My goal is to encourage and support you and help you thrive as you navigate this adventure of midlife. Join me here each week for the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast. My guests this week are Kristen Marion-Hendryx and Travis Hempstead. Travis and Kristen are parents navigating life together after losing their spouses. In this episode, they share how they met and about their lives now. Towards the end of the podcast, we also discuss the Enneagram and how it has helped Travis and Kristen learn more about themselves and each other. Please note, we discuss the loss of a spouse, so please take care in listening. Travis and Kristen, welcome to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast.
Thank you.
So glad that you're here. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about a couple of things, one being the Enneagram, which we are going to get to in a little bit. But before we get into this conversation today, could you each just share a little bit about who you are, your family, and what you do?
You want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
I'll start. I'm Kristen. I am first and foremost a mother. I have a daughter who's a freshman at Xavier High School. I'm a widow. My husband, Josh, passed away 512 days ago. Mm-hmm. I'm I guess, former stepmother as well to his 3 children that I was very involved with raising. Mm-hmm. Professionally, I'm working marketing for GoDaddy. Been there about 7 years. And I also teach kickboxing and strength training at Farrell's. I've been doing that almost 15 years.
So don't mess with you.
Exactly.
Because you can kickbox
That's
your
right.
way out of any situation.
I got to be careful.
Yes. Be careful, Travis. I love it. Thank you. What about you, sir?
I'm Travis. I am a father of 3 beautiful little girls. Or not so little anymore, I guess.
No, they're not.
That's time's flying by there. I am a widowed man as well. My wife, Erica, passed away from cancer September 29th of 22. Mm-hmm. And I own 1111 Event Co.
Yes.
Design and decor business here in Cedar Rapids, Hiawatha area. Also started a nonprofit for the Erica's Journey Foundation that we can talk more about later.
Yeah.
Former DJ. I just retired my wedding DJ hat.
Oh,
now
my
has
goodness.
been hung up, and focusing on the design aspects and the decor rentals. So,
Is it hung up though?
Yeah. Well,
you're gonna do a stint for our Night to Shine that's coming up.
Yep.
By the time this comes out, it will have already happened. But
yep, I'll be
you
doing Night to Shine.
can't back out on me now.
I've got 3 CrossFit events that I'll be
Okay.
DJing in March as well.
Nice.
So I'm always open to possibly booking another DJ
kind of
session.
semi-retired
that's never
at this
completely
point.
off the table. Just ask Riley Mullane.
It's like it's in your blood.
It is.
It's in your blood.
It
I
is.
tell you, it is. Well, and you do an amazing job at it too.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's hard to step away from something that's kind of just part of who you are.
Yeah.
And it's been a big part of your life too.
Yeah.
So.
Very big.
And that's how we met, actually, I believe, through my sister. I think everyone I've ever met, I've met through my sister. She has a very vast and wide network of human beings that I get the privilege to get to know.
Yes.
And you DJ'd along with Riley the first Night to Shine back in 2018. I don't know if that's how we met, but that's like one of my very first memories of you was being at that. We had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing, but you guys made it such an incredible night for our guests. And so I just really appreciate that.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you've been the DJ every year
That's
since.
why I've come back.
Yeah.
Yes, every time.
Why not, right?
I can't not do that event. It's too fun.
It's so much fun. And Kristen, you're going to be there this year, which I'm
excited.
So excited. It's hard. I was trying to think of a way to explain Night to Shine to someone who hasn't been to it. And it's really hard to do that because there's a lot of things going on, but also it's just the whole vibe in the space and the joy. You can't really put that into words. I don't feel like, Travis.
Yeah.
I don't know if you kind of feel that, but that's how I feel. So I just can't wait for you to be there and to watch it all unfold and to see everything and the red carpet, which you do an amazing job of announcing the red carpet, all our kings and queens of the prom. And yeah, I'm just excited for you to be there.
You'll never see a happier group of people in one spot in your life.
The video even got me. I wasn't even there, but I felt like, wow, I can't miss this.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I honestly, I can't wait. I know you'll get hooked once you come to one. You'll be like, I'm going to do this every single year. Yeah. I just had our first volunteer training session on Sunday, and we show our highlight video. And, the event is a lot of work. And I tell our volunteers, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of people. We have over 300 volunteers every year that step up and serve. But yet I watch that video when it's hard. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. This is why we do this. This is why we're doing Night to Shine. So I could talk about Night to Shine all day, but that's not why we're here today. Today, again, I really appreciate both of you being willing to share. This podcast is all about building community and sharing our stories, because there will be someone listening to this that is going to be in the same time in their lives that the two of you are. And when I think I emailed you, Travis, first about being on, I was just, I've known you, Travis, for such a long time. And I knew Erica and your girls, and just, you're like a brother to us, to Megan and I. And so I really wanted to be able to share not only the amazing person you are, but Kristen, get to know you and learn more about what this experience has been like for you with your spouses. So again, just to what you're comfortable sharing, can you share a little bit about your spouses and anything about what it's been like in that process since they've passed? Anything that you feel like you want to share?
Yeah.
So I actually met my husband, Josh, through the gym where I teach. He was a participant there, and I just saw someone who really worked hard in class. And that was always he was just someone I looked to as a hard worker. And I found that, attractive in him. So we met through the gym.
Aside from his biceps.
Well, yeah, you can't miss
that doesn't
those
hurt.
either.
I mean,
Yeah,
right?
the looks definitely did not hurt. I think we were both at a time in our lives that was very transitional, as far as we were both in sort of broken relationships, in jobs that we weren't, loving. Mm-hmm. And I think we both had kind of thrown ourselves into fitness as a way to cope with some of those things. And the more I learned about him, the more I thought, we're really in kind of the same place in our lives. So we just started connecting on that level. And every time he talked to me, he would get very red. And I just, finally someone said, he has a huge crush on you, right? And I didn't know that. I thought we were just connecting over, fitness and sports and all of those things.
Sure.
So we got married actually a year to the date after our first date. We eloped in Vegas, and it's the most impulsive, crazy thing I've ever done that I wouldn't change wouldn't change an ounce of it. And he passed away actually from a cardiac arrest on Labor Day 2022. We were actually just leaving the gym, and he just said he wasn't feeling right, asked me to take him to the urgent care, and that's, from there, he passed away. So we started at the gym. That's why I continue to go there, because it's a place that I really feel him the most. And he still continues to motivate me there, even though he's not there.
Right. Absolutely. His presence, you're feeling that presence and spirit there.
Yeah. And they have his picture up on a screen where we show, different, promos and things. And I always make sure to address his picture when I'm done working out, because he's what pushes me every day.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. Travis, can you share a little bit about Erica?
Erica and I actually had met working at GE Capital, and she was on a team that I was on, and just kind of became friends off of that, and then eventually started a relationship, and everybody at the office was like, finally, like, it's about time.
They all knew before you did, right? Yeah.
But yeah, we got married 9/8/7, so September 8th of 2007.
Okay.
It was an easy date for me to remember. So,
Yes, that helps for
my crazy
guys out
Enneagram 7. I can't remember anything. Give me simple numbers here.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So we get married then, and had our 3 kids along the way, who are now 15, 12, and 7.
Oh my
somehow.
gosh, how did that even happen?
Time.
Wow.
Time and gray hairs. That's how that happened. We got cancer. We found cancer, I guess, after our youngest was born. She just had some problems after giving birth, and then a few months later, some of those problems still didn't go away. So we went in. She knew there was something wrong, so we got it checked out, and it turned out to be that she had anal cancer. So went on that journey from there, and then through all of that, we did the traditional treatments, and then it went into remission, and then came back, and we went and did alternative treatments and found an integrative cancer center in Arizona, as you know. Went through a round of care there and went back into remission. And then it came back again. Went back down to Arizona, and then for that integrative care, got most of it taken care of, but got to a point where we were needing to figure out something else. So that's what we did. Kind of the short of the story is we tried multiple things after that, and just unfortunately it was just we were missing something, and it kind of grew exponentially more, and ended up in her pancreas, and it was in her spine, in her lungs, and in her brain and esophagus, and just couldn't overcome it. So, but she fought like crazy. So she was the strongest person I've ever seen, and had the most will and determination of anybody to make sure she was as healthy as possible and could take care of us and make sure we were as healthy as possible, and to try to educate as many people along that way as possible. She was huge into research and sharing that information, and just wanted to change the world in that side of things. So
absolutely.
So that's how we met, and who she was to me as well. So
it was always amazing to me on her Facebook post. She was going through this experience with cancer. And yet, while that was all going on in her life, she was constantly sharing what she knew. Like, she wasn't one of these people that was just acquiring this knowledge for herself and her own experience, but she was then putting it out into the world to say, hey, here's some things I'm learning. This is really important. And she was putting it out there for other people. And that is just amazing, as you're going through something like that, like, oh my gosh, here's some things I know, and I want to share it so that other people can benefit from it. So that's incredibly special.
Yeah. I've along the way found over 4 completely full notebooks of like notes.
Wow.
And things like that. And just other things like sticky notes and small little notebooks and things like that.
All of the things that she was acquiring, like knowledge and things she was learning, and different things that she had been studying. I know she was studying different nutrition and things like that. So, wow, that's amazing.
I actually knew Erica and followed her journey.
Yeah,
so Josh's 3 children are friends with Travis and Erica's children. So we had talked about, you have a birthday party or something, you talk to the parents when you're inviting the kids. And so I didn't know her well, but I definitely followed the journey as well.
Right.
Long before I met Travis.
Isn't that something? So how did the 2 of you meet?
I'll let you take this one. This is your
That's
favorite
its own story.
How much time we got?
We like to raise eyebrows when we tell this one.
That's okay.
It's kind of a really crazy way to meet somebody. You never think of this in your life, but the way I always tell people is, the first time I ever met Kristen was at her husband's celebration of life, which is really crazy to say and think. But because our kids were friends, when Erica passed away, I mean, I had heard about, I didn't know Josh. I had heard about Josh through Erica, actually, because she heard about it and shared the information with me. But, you know, Josh passed on Labor Day, and Erica passed about, 24 days after that, I think it is. So Harper and Brixley is Harper's friend and Josh's middle. We're best friends and learned of Josh's passing. And then once Erica passed, we knew that Josh's celebration of life was happening shortly after that. So Erica passed on the 29th. I think you did the celebration on October 3rd.
Weeks after.
Something like that. Somewhere around there. And Harper said, I want to go and support Brixley. I want to go to the celebration of life. And I said, okay, we can do that, you know, knowing that we just lost our own. So we went to the celebration of life, and right before I left, I had to go introduce myself to Kristen and just, you know, tell her that I was, you know, my condolences and why I was there. And I said I had just lost my wife as well. And she said I actually was following her. So I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
And then the second time we met,
Can I stop you? We actually met before that, but didn't know it.
Oh, we did. Yes, you're right. We found this out through.
We just learned about this not too long ago. So we were sitting out at Palo Lake, and I don't know how it came up, but I said something about dragon boating and how I used to do dragon boating. And he said, oh, I did that. What team were you on? What team were you on? And it turns out we were on the exact same dragon boat team. We found a picture of our team, and I'm sitting right next to Erica in the picture, and Travis is in the picture as well.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like there was I don't know what everyone's different belief systems are, but I believe that there's energy, there's spirit,
Absolutely.
whatever it is that someone, God, whatever, that, you guys knew each other before and then met and you figured out you had met or known of each other even before the dragon boating.
I know.
That was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
I'm
that
kinda
picture
getting,
on my fridge.
I'm getting chills
It
a
gives
little
me
bit
chills,
here.
too.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, because we just
Okay.
happen to both know the same person from the Dragon Boat thing. And I said, I was on it because of this person, and I knew that she knew her. And it was like, is that the same one? We have to figure out if we can find a picture. And sure enough,
Goodness. And you found the
there's a photo,
picture
and it
and
was-
like
and-
proved it out.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
crazy. Anyway, so the second time technically the third time.
Third.
we met,
Yeah.
I
I would
guess.
say technically the third, I guess, right?
She had come to Erica's celebration of life that I had
Yeah.
at the end of October. So, because Brixley wanted to support Harper. So, that's when we met there. And then the girls wanted to have a sleepover, and kind of some those things kind of happened. We just kind of stayed in touch over Facebook and talked and supported, and then just kind of started hanging out. And I invited her over to my place one night just to say, hey, come on over and let's share our stories and just chat. And she came over and we shared our stories, and we went and had some food and came back and played video games and listened to music.
Nice. That's awesome.
It was funny. And then I found out that she loves 90s hip hop as well. So
Sweet.
Absolutely.
it's good. And then I was going somewhere with that, and then I forgot where I went.
That's okay. That's how you met. Sounds like you had a lot of things in common.
It's crazy.
So.
Oh,
Yes.
A few weeks after that, or longer, I kind of thought about that night that she had come over, and that night that she had come over was actually 11/11, so it was November 11th, which is
Quit with
a
like
significant-
course it
a
was.
Quit with
significant
like
thing
the
in my life.
goosebumps. I'm getting chills here now. Come on here.
So we kind of realized that, which was kind of crazy. So
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And because your company is 11/11
Yes.
and that has a significance for you. And then it was, okay.
yeah,
Wow. Okay. I love that. And I find that there are moments and experiences like this where things like that happen, that just unexplained kind of experiences and moments. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you guys sharing that. So as you're getting to know each other, when did you or how did you kind of come to the decision, like, I'm ready to maybe take this relationship to the next level, or we want to date, or we want to, do that? How did that happen? Or was there a conversation around it, or did it just organically kind of happen?
I don't know that I ever had that thought.
Same.
In fact, we've even talked about, like, when is our anniversary? Like, when did we go on a date?
What counts? Yeah.
I think I just thought, like you mentioned, that Josh had brought this person to me and Erica to help me through an incredibly horrific time. And so it was never, we are dating. I didn't look at it as, should we date or are we dating? I just looked at it as someone has been put into my life for a reason, and this is what it is now. Like, I didn't think about it that way.
It wasn't so black and white. It was just,
same. It was just
here.
We just hung out, and we did, went on, we, at one point, what was it? January something or February. I can't remember what it was.
Time escapes me.
It does, definitely. Anyway, we were like, let's just go somewhere. Let's get out of here. So we went to Florida for a few days just to get out of, out of our way and everything, and just kind of hung out. But we just kind of hung out, and things just became, I guess. It was never a thing,
Cliche to say it just happened, but that really is how I look at it.
Yeah.
It really just happened.
Because I don't think there was ever a time where either of us was, I don't know when this would be a time where I would be like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to date somebody. Let's go find somebody.
Yeah, you're not thinking like that.
Right.
No, especially then. I mean, it was well inside of a year even that we kind of decided, like, hey, this is working out really well, and this is kind of amazing. So, that's again, nothing that we could have just we didn't choose to be like, oh, we're gonna go find and date somebody.
Right.
It just
get on the apps and
happened.
do all that.
Yeah, and it
stuff.
was a beautiful thing that it was the two of us, and we meshed so well together. And she accepts my weirdness, and we move on from there. So
God bless you, Kristen. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's a tough job.
We love Travis. I know.
Someone's got to
get
do
a
it.
big award.
That's right.
A big trophy. No, I'm kidding. We love you, Travis. We do. So I know that there will be people listening to this that might be in a similar situation. And, are there things that you have found helpful or maybe not helpful that you've either had people say or express to you, or things you've maybe thought yourself, or what things have helped you through this process? And what would you say to someone who might be in the situation where they've lost a spouse, and, maybe they're not, like you said, they're not sure if they want to date, but they're like, I might want to meet someone. What advice would you give them? Or I know your relationship was very organic and it happened, but is there anything that you would say to them to encourage them?
I would say some of the great things about it that we really focus on is both of us understand what it's like to have that person in your life that is your forever person, and to lose them. So both of us understand that there are so many moments that we can't get back, that we can focus on ourselves together as our relationship grows. And one of those big things is communication. You understand how big communication is in a relationship. When I wouldn't say that you didn't understand how big communication was in your previous relationship. Not like you, but I mean, like, in general, you as in a human being. Anyone, but it's like, the difference there is a lot of the times, like, I myself would hold off on saying something, or I would fly off and say something that I didn't mean, maybe. It's like, but you understand the impacts of that, of not saying something, or the impacts of saying something. So just to realize the importance of that, of not holding back and just really kind of telling your true thoughts and fully accepting the fact that you can understand this person is, I think, really, really big, and something you don't really get when you're, starting a new relationship and things like that. So,
yeah, communication is huge, super important.
I think too, the fact that there's no handbook, there's no like right way, like, okay, at 6 months, you should do this.
Right.
And at a year, you're ready to date. Like it's different for everybody's situation. There's not a right way to do it. And for me, I just had to sort of ignore all of the outside influences, because there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
People think you should do things a certain way or at a certain time. And I just had to, they don't know, and
Exactly.
And a lot of people mean well, but they don't know. They're not the ones in the situation. So I think it's just following your gut, following your heart, doing what you think is right at the right time, because there's no right or wrong. I mean, this is your life, your heart, your relationship, and screw what anybody else thinks about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a, one of the things is focusing on what's right for you and your family as well. I got to think of what's the best thing for my girls at the same time. I have to have them in my best interest as well. So really kind of taking into all those factors of, how this relationship is and who Kristen is and how she is to my children and how she is to me and what she means and, the potential of what we have there and the understanding of, what makes a really great relationship is really important. And I think, I've told people before, us meeting and starting a relationship isn't like starting from ground zero.
Right.
I think we're starting from, 100 steps ahead of where anybody else is, because we know and understand what it's like to have that person and to kind of work and know what that relationship takes. And I think, for both of us, having that understanding is just an accelerant. I feel like it's been a great accelerant in the growth of our relationship. But yeah, canceling out the outside noise is a big thing because, like you said, you can look from the outside and in, and you can have all your opinions and all of your feelings that you want. But in the end, you just don't know. Like you're not in that situation. You're not that person. You didn't go through this. You don't know what conversations we're having. We've had a lot of very deep conversations to get to where we are, and it's just it's
You really learn who your circle is, and I found that can change.
Okay.
People that you thought really did want you to be happy. Maybe they're not as tight in your circle as you thought. And there's been a lot of people that truly have been happy for us. I don't want to act like there aren't, but I've learned a lot about, I think, people and intentions and being genuine and kind to someone, because you don't know
Absolutely. You don't
half
know.
of it. You might think you do based on social media or,
Right. Or what you
whatever
see in the
else they're
media or
putting
on a
out there.
TV show or
Right.
something, like you're supposed to do this at this time, like you were saying. And yeah, people, they don't know what shoes people are walking in.
Right.
They really don't.
And like you said, I think we both, having been in a successful relationship, we know how to make it work. We also know maybe some things that we want to change in this relationship. So getting that extra chance, I could have done this or should have done this. Well, now I have that fresh opportunity to do so. So
Yeah. I love that. I love that. What are the two of you looking forward to most in the future? What is something that...
Well, we're going to Miami on Thursday.
Yes. Get out of this Iowa weather and go south. Yes. I think that sounds like definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for me, it's having that solid relationship and having that solid connection and the understanding. I think we both go into a relationship with different eyes. And I think that's exciting for me, because it's like, where can this take us that, I may not have been able to go before. But I don't know, just like for me personally, there's a lot of things that I haven't been able to do with Erica, that, a lot of couples get the chance to do, and a lot of families get the chance to do. And, for the last 6 years, that was, everything was kind of put on hold, and, it's difficult. I mean, you get through it and you grow exponentially through that. And, there's been a lot of amazing things that have come out of that. But at the same time, there's things that I feel like I was missing out on too, and the kids are missing out on, going on trips, or, having, somebody that's able to run and play and do things, and,
Right.
just new and different things that I'm able to see and do and discover with Kristen and our kids and all of that, I think is exciting for me.
I love that. That's
and
amazing.
I look at it, I mean, I agree with all of that. I think my situation was so different because he was gone in an instant. You know, I didn't have the preparation time. So I'm always trying to just make sure we're living each moment because that can be taken away. So for me, like he said, it's just doing things together, enjoying the time. I think a lot of things that were maybe important to me before aren't as important now, you know, like Jackie, your previous guest said, work is always going to be there.
Yep.
Your family comes first. And so I just look forward to someone who has that same belief and value that I do and wants to spend time doing those things versus, you know, throwing yourself into work or something else.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Having that family time, getting those experiences. And like you said, you know, having that that other chance, right, to get to experience those things together, you know, which is so
and
cool.
new things. I mean,
brand new
we took
things.
up pickleball. Like neither of us has ever played that before. So like, okay, let's start doing this, you know, just kind of pushing ourselves out of that comfort zone that maybe we were both in for a while, and just trying some new stuff.
Well, and creating something that's just for the two, that's your own for the two of you, right? It's not based on maybe a past experience that you had, but this is something that the two of you share in your relationship, which I think is really neat too. Yeah. So I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being so candid and vulnerable, because these are, you know, hard conversations, but at the same time, I feel so just excited for the two of you, but also just so full of hope and just love, you know, that's just amazing. So thank you for sharing that. When we were talking about doing the podcast, I think Kristen, you had brought this up and you were speaking my language. You asked about the Enneagram a little bit, and I'm a complete Enneagram nerd. I have been for a long time. And so I did want to touch on that a little bit because I think, you know, the Enneagram is a tool. And some people resonate with it. Some people don't. If you don't know what the Enneagram is, it is a personality typing system. So it is based on 9 types, and everyone is one type. And you can find your type. There's tests you can take. There's books you can read, things like that. And as Kristen and I were kind of talking before we started recording, typing yourself is probably the hardest part of the Enneagram. So if you're listening and you're trying to figure this Enneagram thing out, don't get frustrated. There are tools out there to help you to do that. But I learned, Kristen, that you are a 2 like me. So yay, 2s.
Strong 2.
Woohoo. Go 2s. And Travis is a 7.
Yay.
Strong 7.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because my sister, you know, Megan is a 7. And I think you and Megan, and I said this to Kristen before, like you are one of the most 7 that ever 7'd. Like you and Megan, I believe that like you have so many of the attributes of a 7. And again, sometimes we don't 100% resonate with our types. There's certain things about it. You're like, that's not me so much, but the rest of this I do, you know, but not you and Megan. You guys really.
Do any other numbers even exist?
No, I was going to say the other ones don't even factor into the equation, but
unless you're dating them.
Right. Of course.
Well, he always used to say, I'm a 7, and I never knew what he was talking about. I thought he meant like, you know, when someone says I'm a 10. I'm like, you're really selling yourself short here.
Come on, man. You're better than that.
So I'm very new at all this Enneagram stuff, but I had to look it up because he kept calling himself a 7. I'm like,
that's
I don't know
fantastic.
what this guy's talking about.
I love that so much. Yes, we're not talking about ourselves on the like hotness scale. We are talking about our types. Yes, our Enneagram types. Absolutely. Well, I gave you guys a book today. It's called The Path Between Us. If you're someone like me who is a complete nerd about this stuff and wants to learn more about the Enneagram, there are 2 books I always recommend to everyone. One is The Road Back to You, which is kind of the primer. It's an easy read. It's got a little bit about every type. So if you're having a hard time with the typing process, that's the book to read. However, then the next one is this one, The Path Between Us. And it's about the Enneagram and healthy relationships. So you could apply this to personal relationships, professional relationships, all of it. So what's great about it is that it goes into each of your types, but then it talks about how two people interact, whether they're the same type or different types. And so for people that don't know, 2s are called the helper. So we are motivated by the desire to be needed and wanted and loved. We tend to do more for other people than we do for ourselves. We tend to put ourselves and our own needs on the back burner, which gets us into a whole lot of trouble if we don't take care of ourselves. But that's what a kind of the basics, I guess, of a 2. A 7 is usually called the enthusiast or the adventurer. And 7s are people who love to be positive and joyful and try new things. They are the people that if all of a sudden you want to be spontaneous and go do something, a 7 is usually up for it. They're the people that when you're in a room, you're going to know who the 7 is because they are usually not, and this is kind of a stereotype, but they're usually very outgoing, just really encouraging, lifting people up, very creative, very innovative people. So those are 7s. I always laugh. My sister will message me and she'll say, we don't have any plans this weekend. Do you want to go do this? And then we'll go do this. And then we're going to go over here and eat over here. And then we're going to go over here and do this. And I'm like, I'm done after about like the second thing. I'm like, that all sounds great, but
as long as
no.
the second thing is lunch.
Right. If there's food involved, I'm in. But and then her other thing is she doesn't understand why everybody else wouldn't want to do all the things that she wants
Travis.
to do. And why don't you want to do this? And I'm like, I know I'm tired or, whatever it is. And
because you've been helping people all day.
right. I'm exhausted. Yes. My stress 8 comes out and I'm tired from doing everything for everybody else, even when I'm not really needed, which is a whole nother conversation. So a 2 and a 7 in a relationship, and this is taken right out of this book. For 2s, one of the challenges is really verbalizing what you need because you believe that sharing what you need with others is a burden, that you're burdening them with those needs. And so you tend to hold it in. And then if you're like me, what happens a few months later, you're so tired of holding it all in, it just explodes out into this big thing and it's not good for anybody. So you need to have a partner that will listen to you and will listen to your needs and acknowledge those needs. And you have to trust that that you can do that with that person. That's a big thing for 2s. And there's a lot of things. With 7, you need freedom. Probably more than a 2 needs freedom. You need to feel the freedom to share your plans, even if the 2 in your life doesn't really want to do the 100 things that you want to do or go the 100 places you want to go. You just need the freedom to share it. And again, trust that they're going to support you and listen to you and not kind of squelch your enthusiasm for the things that you've got going on in your brain. 7s like freedom, but what 7s also want is they also want to know that there's also someone that's going to take care of them too. So that's why I think a 7 and a 2 is a great relationship. But I will also say as a caveat, and I get asked this a lot, are there 2 types that are better together than other types? There's really not, as long as each type, the person is healthy, right? If they're, kind of in their best place mentally and emotionally, and it's a roller coaster, right? We all have good days and bad days. So can you see, and I know Travis, you know a lot about yourself as a 7. Now, Kristen, you're learning about yourself as a 2. How do you see this kind of dynamic playing out in your relationship? Or is this something that you have found, and maybe you'll find it as Kristen, as you get more comfortable with it, to kind of be a good tool in your relationship?
Yeah, it was actually really, I think, harder for me as a 2 losing a spouse because I poured everything into that family, into him and his children. So to sort of lose that all, now I'm like, now who do I help?
Right.
It's just me and my daughter now. So I really felt like, am I still a 2? Am I still the helper? Who do I help now? So that was very difficult to sort of figure out who am I now? Because I associated my whole life with that family and losing that it just made it that much tougher. But I think what Travis does for me is balance out sort of I say type A. I'm type A to a fault sometimes. He balances out that part of me. It makes me a little more at ease with some things. You know, everything doesn't have to happen right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to help that person. Let's go do this fun thing. Right. You know, he balances out that part of my personality that, you know, I'm still kind of trying to, again, figure out who I am.
Sure.
So I've found myself being less too.
Right.
I think since losing.
But it might be just be more of a healthier version of it
that
too.
Could be too.
Right. So
sure.
you're instead of I am pouring everything in over here and really neglecting my own needs. Whereas what Travis might be bringing out of you, say, hey, I want to help you take care of yourself, and let's go do something fun that you're going to enjoy and get filled up with, whatever that activity is, if it's pickleball or whatever you guys are going to do together. And that's great. I mean, because that's what you do need to do is really look at yourself and your needs and say, how do I take care of myself?
Right.
And I don't just mean physically, of course, physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all those ways, because that's what we do. We pour into everyone else, and then we're over here empty. Right. Expression, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Yeah. That's what twos tend to do. Sometimes we even insert ourselves, and I'm saying this for me, not saying this is you, but this is me. I insert myself into helping people that really don't want or need my help. I found that a lot with parenting. Because of my desire to be needed and loved and wanted, I help people, my son who's 17, who thinks he does not need me as much anymore, although he does. You know, I put myself in positions where I really shouldn't in terms of helping what I think is helping someone, and I'm really not. So that's hard as a two, because it's like, well, okay, like you said, who am I then if I'm not helping somebody? Right. And I think the message is that we are worthy and loved and valued, even if we're not helping anybody. Right. And that is hard, right?
It's a hard shift.
Yeah. Oh, and it doesn't happen overnight. And there's days you're going to do well with it and days when it's going to be hard, and that's okay. Right. You know, we're human beings. So
yeah,
we are Absolutely. A good balance. I think the two and the seven, like you mentioned, you know, I think I bring a little structure to his life. He brings a little more of the free spirit, you know, to my life. So I do think it's a good balance.
Absolutely.
I definitely need the structure.
No.
As you may know from Megan, I need the structure.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's all right.
You know, with, kind of balancing everything, you know, for me, I was somebody who didn't, you know, at fault, and self-admittedly, I wasn't the structure person. You know, that was Erica. She had all the schedules. She knew where people needed to be, and you know, I often got yelled at for not remembering where you need to be next, or, you know, it's like those types of things. It's like, I'm just focused on getting through this day and seeing what I can do to make tomorrow better, and, you know, trying to make these other dreams come true. And, you know, it's just kind of like, I'm in go mode all the time. And, now that I don't have that, it's like, okay, how does this whole structure thing work? You know, it's like between dance and gymnastics and, you know, cheer and archery and all those things that are going on. You know, it's tough just from my own little square of a family structure, and then trying to, you know, add somebody else in some other things and projects and, you know, other schedules in at the same time. It's like, what? Remind me what's going on today. It's like, what's happening? And if I don't write
familiar.
It down, or you know, I have to, even the girls' schedules, I have to have 3 reminders for whatever that so I have reminders popping up an hour beforehand, or better, multiple, until that thing happens. And if I don't have it in my calendar with at least 4 reminders on it, my standard is 30 minutes, 2 hours, 1 day, and a week. And sometimes it's closer than that. I do.
That's a system, Travis. I hate to break it to you, but that is a system. If it works for you, right?
Is, yes. So,
I love that.
The good thing is I have been in a blended family with 3 children. Like I know kind of what it takes to make it work and what doesn't work. So I can bring that experience to him, and sometimes he listens to me.
I do.
Wow. What do you know?
I do. Kristen.
And I bet when you listen, her way kind of works, maybe, huh?
Yeah, there's compromises. As anybody. No,
Wow.
Kristen's been amazing for the kids, and very supportive and very helpful.
That's awesome.
And can as a two, wanting to see how I can help and be there. She's been a huge help. So that helps me with getting them picked up or having them stay overnight or getting somebody ready for school. Those types of things. Or she's been a huge help in the laundry aspect and some of
the never-ending laundry.
Cleaning
Yes,
up
I know.
aspect of my house. That's difficult to keep up
laundry
with sometimes, but
Yeah. That's what we're calling it.
That's one of the.
That's going to be our new book.
Yes, the
The
laundry
laundry
aspect. Here's how to do this life. Yeah.
But no,
I love
I've
that.
learned a lot. With the two. I do not remember what Erica was. I could not tell you. I was not focused on it that much at the time. But just Kristen and being able to wanting to take care of people. She does such a great job of taking care of me and taking care of the kids, and just small ways that you just never really, that somebody like me doesn't ever think about. She gets some snack or gets something when she picks them up from school or dance or goes to a gymnastics meet or whatever. She always brings something, and it's always fun just to see the kids love those types of things, those little things that I just never think about. I'm like, okay, what time do we got to be there? And what time is this thing over
Right.
with? Like, that's what I'm focused on.
Right. If you can get that, you're good. Right. Absolutely.
So-
Yeah. It's just what I love about this system, this Enneagram system, is that it reminds us that we're all different. We all have strengths. We all have things we need to work on. And I think it helps. You were talking about earlier, Travis, in the discussion about communication. I think when we understand our partners better, and the Enneagram certainly helps us do that, it helps with our communication. It helps us to know that, this is the type they are. These are the things that are, some of the things they're strong in, some things they need to work on, and same for us, ourselves. That just helps so much with communication. And I think it helps us have compassion for each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right. So, because we're human beings, we have faults, we have things we challenges and weaknesses and things we have to work on. And what the Enneagram does is it just helps us to acknowledge that, maybe time management isn't Travis's strength, right? But he's got a system, he's working it, he's trying his best. And that because of, how he's wired, how his brain works, and that's okay. And the more we know those things about our partners, I think it just helps us have more empathy for them. And, with Kristen, like she could potentially burn herself out taking care of anyone else. So what is something that I maybe need to watch for in her in that? How do I help her? By coming up with, let's just go away and do this fun thing.
Yeah.
Get out of this and let's go over here. And we're just going to have a really fun day together. That's probably exactly what she might need in that moment. And you know this because of her tendency to want to serve and help and care for. And
Yeah. It's been just strictly looking at the Enneagram stuff has actually helped in my understanding of how she operates and things too. So, there's times where I'm thinking like, why did she do this exactly? Why does she feel this way?
Yeah.
Not thinking anything other than, how I feel about it. It's like, oh, that's all good. It's cool. Like whatever, why would you react a certain way for the situation or not? And just understanding, oh, that's how a two is. And this is how she's thinking about it. And that makes perfect sense,
Right.
So just helping to understand is a really
huge.
great thing to look into if you don't know what your Enneagram is, or your spouse's, or your friend or girlfriend or boss or whatever, it's great to, because I've done the corporate things, the colors training and a couple other things like that. But this Enneagram thing has always been the biggest thing for me to really lock into. So
Right. And I always tell people there's lots of tools out there. Like you said, there's colors, there's Strengths Finder, there's Myers-Briggs. And if there's a tool that people resonate with that works for them, use that tool. I just find the Enneagram to be super straightforward and helpful. And so that's why I kind of have acclimated to this one, but it's one, of many great tools out there. And so if Enneagram doesn't resonate with you, then there might be something else out there. But yeah, I just find it to be to be super helpful. So that was so fun talking about that. I loved it.
You can talk about that all day.
I know. And maybe I will. Maybe I will just sit and talk to myself all day about the Enneagram. It's so fun. Well, Kristen, Travis, I just want to thank both of you for being on the podcast today, for sharing about Josh and about Erica. And I know that your story is going to bless many people out there. And again, just want to thank you for being on.
It's great. It's a great opportunity for us to get on and share a story, unique as it is. You know, for us, and speaking for me specifically, I've never really thought about this being an opportunity to help somebody in the way that it is. You know, Erica's journey was a great way for me to understand how to help people and figure that out and stuff. But you know, you never really think of tragedy of losing somebody is a great way to help somebody else. And it's like there's a lot of people out there that have lost, you know, through my understanding of after losing Erica, understanding people are, you know, who have lost people that you never really know about in your life, and you never knew how to interact with them in the right way. A close friend of mine lost his wife suddenly as well. Probably 6 or 7 months or so after Erica had passed away. So just being able to help him through that at the same time, and you know, if there's a way that we can help people through their loss or their finding a new relationship or anything, you know, I hope this story and what we have to offer is enough to help somebody through their moments. We've had a lot of people come to us at times and say, thank you for sharing your story or your Facebook, you know, posts and things. It's really helped me to like open up. And, you know, there's been a couple people that have decided to start dating again because they've seen us. And
awesome.
just kind of stuff like that. It's really cool to see and just understand that you're actually helping somebody. And, you know, you're living your life, but if you live your life in the right way, you're able to help influence other people along the way so they really can change their perspective. And that's, you know, a huge goal of both of us. We really want to make sure people are always helped. I think that's a big common thing that we have together between the 2 and the 7 is just really making sure that people are taken care of in all aspects. So.
And I will put a link in the show notes to Erica's journey so people can learn more about it and give. We want to definitely let people know about that. Again, just thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Again, this episode is going to bless a lot of people, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow the show to make sure the latest episode is on your podcast feed each week. I would greatly appreciate a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you're listening on. It helps others to find the show. If there are topics you'd like me to discuss on the show, please email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com or direct message me on Instagram at Nicole Stute. Thank you for listening.